Hello, hello. So, my name is Cheyenne. I'm a women's health and fitness coach, and I work specifically on helping you improve your mental health through your lifestyle. So, how I do this is I just kind of randomly think of things that I either get questions about or see commonly asked in different groups that I'm in, or just what I thought would be helpful when I was at one point in my journey. So, I hope you find it helpful too. So this one specifically, I just write it all down here. This kind of helps me stay on track. This one specifically, I wanted to talk a little bit about my journey on antidepressants and what that was kind of like for me. I'm in a lot of groups, like just support groups for women with anxiety and depression. And I often see this question about antidepressants. So I thought I'd kind of give you just like my personal experience, what I've learned throughout also my pharmacy journey, and hopefully it helps in some way. Often what I'm hearing is they're wanting to know what it was like for other people, what side effects they had, if they had success, if they didn't have success, what helped them, different things like that. And it really all depends on each person. So I'll kind of just give you my story as like an example because it's not like I went on the first antidepressant and it helped so much and blah, blah, blah. Like that's not what it was. I got off all of my meds about 5 years ago now. And I did that by focusing on improving my mental health naturally through lifestyle and nutrition, exercise, working on my gut health, doing like the inner work. And then I slowly weaned off everything with a physician. So don't go do it yourself. You want to keep your doctor involved. That's how I did it. But it took me 4 tries of different medications until I found something that kind of helped a little bit. It was like far from an easy experience, I guess. So some pros that I wrote down is yes, it is a great tool. It can be a great tool. In some cases, it is necessary and it can be very helpful in recovery of certain things too. So there is a purpose for it and I'm not like against it at all. I'm not saying that, but I've heard a lot of not great stories plus my own journey and experience, right? So cons, it is still a neurotransmitter hormone like disruptor, right? Like it is still changing your body chemistry. And many people go on it after, interesting fact, many people go on it actually after starting birth control because that's affecting your hormones. And then also side effects. So, side effects such as fatigue, this can also contribute to cravings, reduced insulin sensitivity. So, you're getting insulin resistance, which just means you're not like, and I'm not saying it causes it, but because there are changes in the body and you typically get fatigued, you become less active just because you're feeling fatigued. Like you might feel like you're still doing things throughout the day, but our bodies are very smart and efficient, right? So if you're feeling fatigued, it's like, okay, you might not be moving around quite as much as you maybe would have before. And you just didn't think about it, right? Like your body starts slowing down things. That's like, oh no, you're tired. You need to like not do as much today regardless if we feel like we're doing all the same things by getting ready, getting the kids to school, going to work, blah, blah, blah. Regardless if we feel that, there's ways that our body is still kind of slowing things down for us when we're feeling fatigued. So that's another point. So yeah, which can contribute also to craving. So when we're feeling fatigued, we don't have as strong of like decision making willpower energy because we're fatigued. But also with changing things with your hormones and stuff, that can also cause cravings as well. So there's a couple things there of why that could be happening. And then another thing, you're changing your gut microbiome. It is still changing the environment of your gut and ultimately healing that and fixing that the right way opposed to like putting something else in there that's like not focused on improving that in the right way is just not great. It's just, personally myself, now that I've gotten to this point, I'm like, okay, there's any other way that I can fix this, I'm gonna look at that first, right? For myself personally. And then also it can be really hard to wean off. So this is dependent, like all of them you should be weaning off slowly with a doctor. But like because I had so many that I tried, so like I tried one for a while and then ended up getting like switched over to another one. So there was like a changing, but like you have to wait at least 3 months to even like know if something's gonna work, right? So I think it was like 6 months, and then there's like the changing thing. So then there's another 6 months, and I was like, okay, I don't feel like this is really doing anything. So then I went off of stuff on my own, which I don't recommend, but I did it slowly. Not saying that you should at all, but that was just a decision I made at that time. And then when I realized like, okay, I can't, like at that time I was like, I can't do this on my own. Then I went on another medication. That one was terrible. That one was awful to come off of. I was also on sleep meds at that time, but the doctor just kept on increasing my medication without like, it was just a very not great situation. So coming off of that one was really, really bad. And I've heard from other people, I'm not going to necessarily like out it or say which one it is. I'm happy to talk to you about it if you want, but a lot of other people have been on the similar family of medications as that one, even the same medication, they've all experienced the same, right? And it is known to be a harder one to come off of, right? So there are different things and different things to take into consideration for that too. And again, everyone can be different, but there's also the side effects that can cause you to have to take more medication. So one of the medications that kind of worked for me in keeping me kind of focused and in a good mindset throughout the day also made it so I like slept terrible at night. So then even though I had gone off of sleep meds at the time when I went off that other one, then I had to go back on and I kind of got my sleep better, and then I had to go back on it because it was causing like insomnia. So then there was that, right? But at that time I was like, okay, this is helping during the day, so whatever if I have to do this at night, right? At that time, that was my thought process on it. Okay, so there are big pros in terms of, got a little messy here, in terms of risks versus benefits, but also take others into consideration. So if you're unable to do small things to build yourself back up, then that might be a better option, right? So like if you're at this point, and that's why I say like it is a tool, it is something that I'm not saying like don't take it at all and not to like scare you from taking it, because there have been studies, lots of people take it. It is safe. It's just like something to be aware of and have knowledge around, right? But if, for example, back then I was unable to make those like small changes to kind of get myself out of the dark hole, is how I'll kind of explain it. Because I was unable to make those changes on my own, like I was in such a kind of dark place, it was helpful for me to have something that kind of, once it started working for me, helped me kind of get up and out of it. If you're in a spot where you can start making those small changes. So, for example, I went through some pretty tough stuff about a year and a half, 2 years ago. And it was like mentally, it did take a really big toll on me, but also like I knew I could make these small little changes, like my foundations, my 5-step framework. It's adding in those little things that I knew would help me kind of get up and out of it. And it's a little bit of a different scenario with that one, but it depends on where you're at with it. So I'll just kind of leave that at there. And those are kind of my two examples when I've decided to or not. Oh yeah, so a choice I've made for this part of my journey is to not go back on it, because I feel I can keep up healing without it. It may take a little longer and it might be a little tougher. I acknowledge that, right? I don't have something that's helping keep things baseline, but also for myself, I want to release all those emotions because I feel like it's trapped. So that's another reason why I'm not specifically doing it. What I have found more beneficial for me personally, and what I use with all my girls in the program, are just daily doses of good habits. I was very tired when I wrote this, obviously, because it's just getting like messier as we get down the line here. So food, fuel, whole foods as much as I can with the balance, of course, right? I've talked about that in other ones, but walking outside. So it's best is like if you can get some morning and then like evening movement in, right? The morning sun is really good for our circadian rhythm, our mood, our getting all of our like chemicals in sync and where they should be. So getting daylight, sunlight into our eyes kickstarts everything. And then getting daylight actually around like, I think it was like 2 or 3 p.m. or about 8, what is that? 8 hours before you plan on going to bed. That second dose actually helps kickstart when our melatonin production should be starting, which is your sleepy hormone. So that's interesting. But anyways, so yeah, morning sun, circadian rhythm, and then sleep. So having a bedtime routine, a bedtime schedule, sticking to my like similar sleep wake cycle. So if you are getting up at 6 a.m. during the week, going to bed at 9 p.m. at night, doing that on your days off as well. And I'm not saying you have to be like, you don't have to be perfect at this, but whenever you can, trying to stick to that. Like if you are out late or if you're coming home late that day or you're on holidays, like yeah, things are probably not going to be the same, but trying to keep it as consistent as you can, because it actually programs our body and our mind, so then it starts producing those chemicals at the same-ish time, so you get better sleep, deeper quality sleep, all the good stuff. Oh yeah, great book, Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker. Weight training 3 days a week. So studies do show 2 25-minute sessions per week helps improve mental health. Can't remember the percentage on that, but what I do in the program is 3 30-minute full body weight trainings, and that is great for building lean muscle, shedding kind of like any excess fat without any inflammation or anything like that, but then also improving mental health. Water filtered, so I've started remineralizing mine now. And honestly, I don't want to like put out a blank statement of everyone should, but the things that can cause lack of mineral absorption are so common in most of our lives. So I'll kind of just list what I've kind of learned and why. I've been tested also for minerals, so like I know I'm low, but things that can contribute to it too, right? So chronic stress, pregnancy, being years on birth control, restrictive dieting, low calorie diets. So those are all things that can deplete our mineral stores and stuff, right? So if you've had any of those, it might be something to look into. Avoiding the phone upon waking, before bed, avoiding news. Yeah, so I do not watch the news. It puts me in such a bad mood. It's not good for my mental health. But also avoiding your phone, like when you first wake up, like the worst thing to do is like go on your phone and look at social media first thing in the morning. Worst thing that you could do. And then also before bed, right? Because that blue light blocks our melatonin production, which is our helps us fall asleep hormone and keeps us asleep hormone. And so instead what I do is I just fill my head with positive, uplifting like activities, feed, podcasts, audiobooks, anything that is like helping me better myself, right? Instead of just like being negative and bringing me down, like what is going to inspire me to become a better person is like when I'm following anyone on social media, when I'm listening to podcasts or audiobooks or anything like that, like how is this benefiting me and making me a better person is how I think of these things. So you're not just like filling your head with junk, right? As much as we love all the dog videos, it's it's not productive in helping you grow from the inside out as you know and heal. That kind of wraps it up, I think. So yeah, my daily doses of good habits, that's your nutrition, getting outside, sleep, weight training, staying hydrated, the mineral thing, if that maybe sounded like that could be you, kind of what my journey looked like. So I don't know if that was helpful. But if you are on a journey of medications and you're just feeling frustrated, like, oh, like nothing's going to work for you, or you're just feeling kind of at this point of, I guess, despair or defeat or hopelessness, I don't know how to say it in like an encouraging way, but you do, even though it might not feel like it right now, you do have so much more control in you. And I think at one point in time, I felt like that was all out of my control. And so I was so like, not, I mean, maybe desperate, right? To have something help me. And I mean, I did find something eventually. It took a lot of years. For me, because I wasn't also very consistent with it. I wasn't really wanting to be on in the first place. The first two didn't work. The third one was awful. And then I was like, oh my goodness, like, what am I doing with my life? So finally, the fourth one did kind of help and get me through to where I am now. If you're in that point, like, don't give up hope. It might just take some more tries. And also, like, depending on the medication, what it's working on, right? So that was something that I know with my pharmacy knowledge at that point, I was like, okay, I feel like this is actually what I'm needing help in. It's not the serotonin part of it, right? So that was for me, but there are different ways that it works, which I can't really get into, I don't think. So that would have to be like a whole other thing on its own. So yeah, I hope this helps. Don't feel defeated. It can take some time. There can be some awful side effects, but also remember, like, that's the medication causing it. Just stay with yourself and be like, okay, I'm okay. Everything's gonna be all right. We just need to get this changed. Make an appointment with your doctor, get the next one, or do whatever they suggest. Talk therapy is great, but then also focusing on just your health and your foundations of taking care of you is so, so impactful. So do give that a try. If you're needing any, like, I have a resource that kind of lists down my 5-step framework, like my foundations that I get all my girls to make very solid in their life. So if you need that, happy to send it to you. Hope this is helpful. We'll talk soon.